consistently denied them any political power within this university. That is what led to students taking political action last December and last weekend, and that furthermore, that is what led to the university being forced to repress these students. And they will continue to repress us unless we continue to build a larger movement that is capable of challenging the power of the Board of Trustees and the administration. So what is it that we want? What is it that the students are demanding? Well, in the Radical Student Union, in addition to demanding the immediate reinstatement of all students who are suspended, and for the university to do everything within its power to ensure that no legal action is taken against these students, we want political power within this institution. And we want this institution to live up to its legacy of critical thought, resistance to oppression, and political action. But as a first start to this, we want the removal of Kerry and Murtha immediately. We want the University Student Senate, the Faculty Senate, and the Deans to come out and to support such a demand. We want the removal of Robert B. Millard, the Treasurer of our Board of Trustees, and the Chairman of military contractor L3 Communications. We believe that Millard's interests are in direct conflict with the interests of this institution, both its history and its current community, in that the administration cries pacifism, they cry nonviolence, especially during times of student protest, yet the Treasurer of our Board of Trustees is profiting from the very violence in Iraq and Afghanistan. We want the full disclosure of the university's financial investments. At a recent meeting of the Lang Student Union, Bob Kerry stated that the administration and the Board of Trustees would selectively disclose financial information to the students and faculty, selectively, and that they've created a socially responsible investments committee. What are the implications of this? A socially responsible investments committee, a committee made of students that is supposed to make decisions regarding social justice and social responsibility in regards to financial investments, will not have access to the financial investments of this institution. We think that this is absurd and that the administration should press for the Board of Trustees to immediately disclose all financial investments of this institution and to create a binding socially responsible investments committee that actually has teeth. And furthermore, we want to increase our power within this institution. We want voting student representatives on the Board of Trustees. We want the university to halt the new building plans on 65 Fifth Avenue. And we want an increase in student scholarships. As Bob Kerry receives his $1 million annual salary, life gets harder for us in this city, in this institution. Our education becomes increasingly unaffordable, this institution becomes increasingly unaffordable, and yet we still lack financial aid and scholarships that we need to make this institution accessible to working class students and to the students who currently attend this university. So these are our political demands. So this is, and Yotam is going to speak briefly about future actions and the way forward. So thank you.
I'm Yotam. I'm a general studies student. I'm in the Radical Student Union. First of all, thank you for coming. Also, I don't think you have to be too worried about the security guards. Just be flattered. They're afraid of us. And I think that that's okay. I just wanted to basically ask of you to join us in condemning the police brutality that was used this last Friday. And also, the thing about condemning the police brutality is that we've got to understand who is actually accountable for it. And actually, the responsibility lays with this administration. And we know very well who called the police. It was a unilateral decision by senior administrators, Bob Kerry, probably Jim Murtha, and we know very well that the provost was not asked his opinion. We know very well no students were called to discuss this, and so we have to hold the administration responsible for being violent. It was actually the administration that initiated violence in this situation. And that has to be really squarely placed in the lap of Bob Kerry. And what I think it does is it proves once and for all that any of the reforms that were being talked about by Kerry and with the institution of a lot of the committees that came out of the December occupation, that these were a joke and these were a sham. And that, again, at the moment when finally those decision-making powers are being tested, like when something actually happens and a decision actually needs to be made, all of a sudden, the idea that there are all sorts of committees and that students are represented and that there's discussion and that there is reform, all of that goes out the window, and we see, again, the use of the very clear autocratic mechanisms for decision-making employed by Bob Kerrey, using actually violent repression by the NYPD. And we've got to hold him and this administration accountable for that. So what we ask is that you support us in that. We call on the Faculty Senate, the University Student Senate, the Dean's Council, other student groups, students in general, to condemn this police brutality, to do it formally, to do it officially, and basically once and for all to decide that Bob Kerrey is no longer the legitimate president of this university.
Yay!
So there is going to be a demonstration being held Thursday at 6 at Union Square on 13th Street, in front of the 13th Street building. Please come. That is only one of the many actions that many of us hope to hold together. And I think, again, we really have to take this seriously. It's not a joke. The reason that today, when certain students walked into the building, their names were written down. The reason that there are suited police officers here, undercover police officers, and the reason that there are these police barricades is because we pose a threat. And we only pose a threat when there's this many of us or more. And that is a really important thing to remember. So when there are demonstrations, when there are sit-ins, when there are statements being made, remember that if it's not you making them, it's not going to be anybody else. And so it's on us. We invite you to continue to struggle with the Radical Student Union and other student groups that are mobilizing, and we promise to continue to do so. Thank you.
So thank everyone. We'd like to thank everyone for coming. We hope that people will be at the demonstration that some students organized. We'd like to thank New School in Exile for organizing the demonstration tomorrow at 55 West 13th Street at 6 p.m. And we'd like to thank them for doing that. Thank everyone for coming out. We hope that students and the general public will oppose the brutality of the police and demand for the immediate reinstatement of the students suspended. And we hope that the rest of our demands that were stated earlier will also be fought for, because this is far from over. Does the press have any questions for any of the students who spoke? They're all good. All right.
There's a Lang community meeting at 55 West 13th Street on the second floor at 4 p.m. tomorrow. So anyone Lang or any faculty that can be emailed, your voices should be heard there.
Has RSU or New School in Exile or anybody else contemplated one focused mechanism of showing broad community demand for reinstating the students, dropping the charges, and investigating the administration actions? I'm speaking about, possibly a petition campaign or something that could gather.
I was speaking with faculty about starting a petition among the faculty. I was also speaking with some students from RSU and from New School in Exile about circulating a petition among students, and then also like a general among academics.
I would just suggest that for those who remember the opposition to the McCain appearance at commencement, there was a quite effective petition campaign at that time. It was one petition, but for everybody, but it really generated a lot of interest.
Sure, and that's absolutely needed, especially in light of a message that I received yesterday regarding the Board of Trustees condemning Tim Marshall for calling for an investigation of the police brutality. The Board of Trustees said that Tim Marshall, the new provost, has no right to do so. So thank everyone for coming. Is there anything else that needs to be said?
Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, outside 13th Street. Against police brutality. Everyone bring 5 people and bring your voice. It's going to be a good time. Woo! Worry? I will follow you.